Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to go over with you how to review Google Classroom with your student. So I'm using my student's account, my daughter's account, as an example. Um, you would do this with your own student. First thing is that you have your student open up their Google Classroom. They all know how to open Google Classroom now, and if any of them say that they don't know how to open up Google Classroom, reach out to me and we'll do it together. This is my daughter Jeannie's Google Classroom, and this is what it usually looks like when you pull up the first page. There's a little bit of information here that you might find useful. For example, in her science class, you can see that she's got to do today the Intro to Energy assignment. And I could click on that and it would pull it up exactly for me, but there's actually a more organized way to look at it. Tomorrow in Miss Devich's class, she has to do the 6 themes poster. And then she's got some things going on in her uh, PE class tomorrow. And on Monday, her English class. Okay. So what I have her do is after school or when I get home from work, she opens up Google Classroom. And the first thing she does is goes over to this 3 lines up here in the corner. So I'll click on that. And these are all of her classes in order, okay? And what I'm looking for is any missing assignments or assignments that she did not turn in. Now, Google Classroom is a platform for essentially teachers to deliver assignments and to get assignments back from students. And then teachers can grade or comment the assignments, and then they can push them back to students if they need a revision or if teachers make comments that they want to make sure that the student sees. So that process can go back and forth. You're looking for something very specific when you go through Google Classroom with your student, okay? And I'm going to show you by going to Jeannie's advisory class. So you'll go through each of these and I'll show you the example in just a minute. Okay. So in her advisory class, each time you click on one of the classes, this sort of page comes up. This is the banner. And there'll be somewhere where some sort of link for the student for the Google Classroom Meet. So this is for Mrs. Crawford's class. She would click here to go to the Meet to be face-to-face with the teacher during advisory time. Up here is what you're looking for, classwork. So I'm going to click on the tab that says classwork. And what I'm looking for are these little circles on the side, okay? Any circle that's colorful, not gray, you want to click on just to see what it is, okay? Sometimes they're pink, sometimes they're yellow, but when they're in a color, that means that there's something outstanding needs to happen. Either the student needs to view them or they have to do work on them. Something is going on. When they're in gray, that means that they're completed and the student has completed or turned in the assignment. Now, sometimes students turn in an assignment that's blank, so you might have to watch that if you've had that trouble with your student, but you'll know pretty quick. Okay, so here's the Google Classroom link. Now I'm going to check on this one because it's blue, so I'm curious what's going on here. I click on the blue, and it pulls down, and I'm going to view the assignment, and if I look at it, oh, this is just Jeannie's Google Classroom links. She was asked in advisory a few weeks ago to write down all of the links to all of her classes, and she did. Okay, so she has it there if she ever needs to access it. Close that. Now she could turn that in, but it was just work that she had to do for the teacher. It wasn't for a grade. And if she does turn it in, when she clicks on that paper, she might have to unturn it in and go back to it. But the point here is that you want to be familiar as a parent with all of these assignments and dots, okay? The first time you go through this, it'll probably take about a half hour to do with your student, even if your student has turned in everything, just so you become familiar. But after that, it only takes about 5 or 10 minutes each night. And it's a good time for you to just check in and say, how's school going? Okay, so I want to scroll down here because I'm going to do something to show you what it looks like when there's a missing assignment. So I'm going to doctor hers up a little bit so that she has a missing assignment for us to see. All right, so I'm going to go back, and you can see here, if I scroll down in her classwork and we get here, there's a blue dot, and it says it was due on September 4th. So that's a problem because we're past September 4th. Now she really turned it in. I'm just faking it. Okay. So I'm going to click on this blue dot and I'm going to view the assignment. So this was an assignment that was given out, and she was supposed to go through it and maybe turn in something. And over here, see, it says it's missing. Over here, it's either going to say mark as done or it's going to say turn in. And that's what the student needs to do. This is the last step to turn the paper in to the teacher, but virtually and electronically. So I'm going to do that for her because I messed it up for her. So mark as done. Okay, and then you click here. So now when we go back to her list from her advisory class, you'll be able to see, remember that's that Google Classroom link, but I'm always alert to those dots that are a different color. I go down here, now it's gray. Now I feel confident that she turned in what she needed to do. She handed that paper in to the teacher. So I scroll up and down advisory and it looks pretty good. So then if I were done with advisory, I'd go to another class. So I'm going to go to one that she's working on right now, and that's Miss Reese's math class. Oh, look, it's pink. Remember how I told you the dots could be a color? Whatever theme color the teachers chose is what color the dots are going to be. So they go here to classwork. Here again, before I go, see on the stream, Miss Reese has a link for the classroom meet. So you'll see that often in the stream or in the Google classwork. Okay, so I like Mrs. Reese's pink color. All right, so, here's something going on right now. So first of all, Miss Reese put it in two places. She wanted to make sure her kids really knew how to get to their class. So here's another one that says attending Mrs. Reese's Google Meet. If you click on that, that will be the link to the meet. Here's something that Jeannie is probably doing this afternoon in Mrs. Reese's class, the Module 1 quiz. It's in red because the teacher has now assigned it in Google Classroom, or it's in pink. And it's going to have to get turned in at some point or done. So this evening, if it's still in pink, I'll be sitting with my daughter saying, okay, well, what didn't get done? Were you supposed to turn it in? Were you supposed to mark it as done? What's the next step? Okay. Now I want to show you because some teachers actually have a little bit, you kind of have to go a deeper level, and you'll become really familiar with this, especially with the math classes. Okay. So this is Jeannie's math class. I'm going to go to last week. Okay. And this is her HyperDoc. So in here, Miss Reese kind of set up a whole agenda of all the work that Jeannie needed to do during that long block of time, and maybe even some homework. So I'm going to click on it so you can see it. All right, we'll wait for that to load a second. All right. So if your student has an agenda like this, you want to review it with them. That's okay. So this is for that whole week. Mrs. Reese reminded those kids what the Google Meet code is, how to email her, the list of things to do, the assignments that she has to do. And then Mrs. Reese also picked a special spot so that students could turn in a picture of the handwork that they had to do. So sometimes in math class, the teachers are actually having kids write it out old fashioned. This is the problem. This is the answer. This is the problem. This is the answer. And so Mrs. Reese asked for that for Jeannie. And Jeannie had to take a picture of her written work and post it right there in that slot so that when she turned in this assignment, Mrs. Reese can actually go look at her work and see that she completed it written out. So you might have some classes that have that sort of thing. Then what are you supposed to do on Wednesday? What are you supposed to do on Thursday? And she had to again turn in submitted work. it is a good thing for you to sit down with your children and go through each of these steps. Um, they shouldn't be confused about what to do right now, but if they are a little bit confused, having you as an adult go through these pathways with them will certainly help. If we were all back at school all together, teachers would be going through each of these pathways one by one with students, but we need our family support right now to go through these steps. So I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to make sure that I didn't accidentally mess up my daughter's assignments. Now, again, here I am, Mrs. Reese, and I'm looking for these pink dots. That's her Google Meet. Don't have to worry about that. This is the quiz that's probably happening this afternoon. These are all in gray, so that's good. Now I come down here to Khan Academy. These are assignments that this is her username and password. That's okay that that's pink because she doesn't turn that in. She had a due date for her Khan Academy back there, and she did it because it's not pink. See down here in resources, these are all in pink. Doesn't make sense for her to go through and click through all of these. So you'll become familiar with each of these classes because each evening you should be doing this with your student. Okay, so that was the very long version of this. Okay, you will have lots of opportunities because you're going to do this each day with your student. It will be so quick. Last night it took, I don't know, maybe about 4 minutes for Jeannie and I her to pop up hers and point, 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 click, click, click. She's like, I've done this. I turned this in. I turned this in. Everything's turned in, and it was all good. If you have any questions or problems on this, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Rose.flowers at carlsbadusd.net. And I look forward to hearing from you folks and helping you through any of these things. Thank you.